Okay, today's lesson is osmosis and water potential. Sometime during your lesson on this topic, I would encourage you to go to YouTube and type in Bozeman, as in Bozeman, and then followed by the words water potential. And this video will come up. I will link it as an announcement on Canvas. It's a pretty good lesson, 10-minute lesson on how water potential works. But before you can learn how water potential works, we need to do a quick review of how osmosis works. You really can't have one without the other. So let's go ahead and do that. Osmosis is the diffusion of water across a semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable means that some things can pass through, other things cannot pass through. This is Alejandro. If you're listening online, this is Alejandro. He took AP Bio last year, right? And he was an e-learner. He still passed. Do you want to give any advice to these kids unfiltered? I'm not going to whisper in here. Just tell them this. Tell them exactly what they should do to pass the exam. That's about it. What did you study? Did you watch the videos I posted when you were absent? I did. Did you buy into what I told you? All the stuff, all my craziness, did you buy into it? Yes. It's crazy course and worth it? Yes. Did your college go to accept your credit? I hope. You don't know yet? You should find out. It's their choice. You should, like, if you're going to Florida State, they should, but you need to find out. But, so we're in biochem right now. Remember that? See? Now, this perfect. Okay, I want you to imagine that you're in April of last year. Okay, we're getting ready for the AP exam, right? What was the hardest thing to remember? Photosynthesis, that's unit 3. What about this kind of stuff? Carbs, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids, water. Fine. All right, I've been telling that it's going to be hard to remember because it's going to be 9 months in the past. But fast, appreciate it. I need to go to the gym. Just kidding. Doing pretty small. All right. E-learner, and you still passed, which is not easy. I will tell you guys this, off the record. There's been a lot of schedule changes because people that were e-learners last year, and I can attest to this, did a lot of cheating. And I'm not pointing to anybody in here. I'm not going to say you did, but there was a lot of cheating going on, my classes included. And so let's just say that you were in Spanish 2 and you cheated your way through the year. We promote you to Spanish 3. You don't even know what C means. You don't even know how to say the word no in Spanish. It's no. And so you get to Spanish 3 and we're like, you don't know anything, but you passed Spanish 2. What's up with that? And we figure it out, and then you have to be replaced because you don't know what you should know at that level. That has been happening more this year than ever because people cheated their way through one class, e-learning, and now they don't know squat. So hopefully that's none of you. Maybe some of you can say, yep, that's me. I don't know. All right, back to this. Now, a semi-permeable membrane basically means some things can pass through, others cannot. So I thought of a really good example that I have seen on the AP exam last period. So imagine this. There is a semi-permeable membrane that is polar. can water go through it? Yeah. There's a semi-permeable membrane that is non-polar. Can water go through it? Good. Good. Ooh. I'm just so many things come to my head from the AP exam. You have a solute, you know, the thing that gets dissolved in water. A solute is polar. Can it go through the membrane? All right, let's say the membrane is polar and the solute is polar. All right, what if a solute is non-polar? All right, let's flip the script here. Let's say the membrane is non-polar and the solute is polar. Can the solute go through it? No. All right, that's stuff that they throw at you. All right, so in osmosis, water moves from one region to another. So let's do something very easy. Here's a beaker, and here is a semi-permeable membrane. Oh, you really can't see that yellow, can you? Let's back that up. Let's do a darker color. Here we go. All right, there's a semi-permeable membrane. Water can pass through it. Over here, I have a solution. Over here, I have a solution. Now, in the solution on the right, I am going to say that the molarity is 0.7 molar. This is why I think chemistry should be your prereq for this class. What this means is that the concentration of the solute is 0.7. It's molarity. You're going to compare it to another value. Let's say the solution over here on the left is 0.4 molar. Which region has a greater concentration of solute, the left or the right? I'll just put L and R. Which one, Sean? The right. I mean, I didn't major in math, but last I checked, 0.7 is greater than 0.4. So this means that the right side has more solute. This means that water will diffuse from left to right. And so what will happen to the water level on the right? Will it go up or down? It's receiving water. On the right? Yeah. It's going, I mean, is it not? It is. So is the water level going to increase or decrease? So, I'm sorry? No, that's not what I'm asking. It's the actual water level, like high tide, low tide. Is the water going to go up or down? It's going to go up. And what's going to happen to the water level on the left? It will go down. This will continue until their concentrations are not equal. That is one way to look at it. Now, this is going to be the tricky part. And I'm going to bring up this video, and I'm going to just have the pause screen because trying to play a video on Zoom is very spotty. I want you guys to check this out. Let's go here. Okay. This is a good way to look at it. So I want you to look at the blue box on the top. How many water molecules are there on the blue box on the top? Count them up. 14. How many are there on the bottom? There are also 14. So their concentrations are equal. The amount of water is equal. We'll get to that equality in a little bit. Then I want you to look at that molecule or that compound that's purple and green. That is sodium chloride. What types of ions compose sodium and chloride? Or excuse me, what type of ions compose sodium chloride? I just said it. A sodium ion and a chloride ion. Okay, look closely at those. Do they have a charge on them? Yeah, watch what happens. I know it's going to be hard to watch this on the lesson, but it's nothing major that you need to understand here as far as the motions. There we go. Watch what happens when the sodium chloride goes in the water. Okay, boom. Whoa, what just happened? I want you guys to really focus in on the chloride first. It is surrounded by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 water molecules. Now, is water polar? Yes or no? The fact that water is polar means that it has poles. Does this mean that water has a positively charged region and a negatively charged region, or does it mean something different? Ava? It means what I just said. If something is polar, it has poles. It has a positive side, a negative side. What side of a water molecule has a partial positive charge? The hydrogen side or the oxygen side? Bingo, the hydrogen side is partial positive. What type of charge are positive charges attracted to? What is the charge of the chloride? See how that works? The positively charged hydrogens are attracted to the negatively charged chloride. Now take a look at the sodium, the purple sodium. What is the charge of it? Positive. What side of the water molecules are being drawn towards the positively charged sodium ion? The oxygen side, that red atom. What is the partial charge of every oxygen within a water molecule? Right. Does it make sense that a partial negative charge is attracted to a positive charge? I hope so. So here is where we get to the most, I would say, hardest part of understanding this class. But if you get over that hump, it's all downhill from there. It's easy. How many free water molecules are remaining on the top box? When I say free water molecules, I mean water molecules that are not being attracted to a chloride ion or a sodium ion. 3. That's it. 3. How many free water molecules are there on the bottom? 14. Okay, so let's go back to your notes. I'm going to try to imitate that. Let's say I have 14 H2O molecules here. I have 3 over here. H2O, guys, water. Osmosis is a passive form of transport. It's a passive form of diffusion. This means that water flows from a high concentration down to a low concentration. So which way is water going to flow? From left to right or right to left? Knowing that there's 14 on one side on the right and 3 on the left. What does this mean? It's going to go from right to left. It's going to go from how to, when will the diffusion stop? When they're equal. I'm going to pause the video here. Some of you are doodling. I can tell it. And I already kind of chewed you out on Friday. This is not, I'm going to be bringing you in here next year and ask you, so what do you think you did wrong that helped you fail the exam? And I will be bringing in some students here to talk to you about that too. They got a 2 or they got a 1. They'll probably tell you, I didn't study, I fell asleep in class, I drew pictures of dinosaurs in class, and now I can't save $2,000 on a college class, now I have to pay for it. Okay. So I'm still kind of on the hard part here. Here's what I want you guys to gather from this image. There are 2 ways that I can ask this question in this class. First off, which side has more solutes, the top or the bottom? The solutes, by definition, is the thing that actually got dissolved in the water. The top or the bottom, which has more solute? The top does. Okay, so which way is water going to flow? From bottom to top or top to bottom? Bottom to top is correct. Here's the next question, different words, same answer. Which region has more free water, the top or the bottom? I heard bottom. Bottom has more free water. Which side has less? The top. So which way is water going to diffuse? Top to bottom or bottom to top? Bottom to top. So I'm going to draw this in several ways I really hope makes sense to you. I can think of 3 ways to draw it. I've done one with you. I've done molarity. I've done amount of water. Now check this out. What if I did this? This side is 95% H2O, 5% sodium chloride. And this side is 85% H2O, 15% sodium chloride. There's 2 questions I could ask you. Question number 1, which region has more free water? When I say free water, I mean water not attracted to an ion. So what's the answer? Left or right? Jade? The right side has more free water. That is correct. Number 2, which side has less solutes? Which region has less solute? They're right again. Okay, basic laws of diffusion. Water diffuses across the membrane from high to low. Which way is water going to diffuse? Is it going to go from the higher concentration of water to the lesser concentration of water? Or the opposite? High to low or low to high? High to low. So which way? Right to left or left to right? Right to left. From 95 to 85. When will the diffusion stop? When both sides are equal. Now I'm going to erase these arrows. I'm going to ask you a different question. Hint, hint, it's going to be the same answer. Which side has more solutes? The left side. So which way is water going to diffuse? If it has more solute, what does it have less of? Yeah, that's the top of the mountain for today. If you can get over that, it's all downhill from there. If it has less water, it has more solute. And then the opposite, if it has more water, or excuse me, it has less water, more solute. If it has more water, less solute. Water's still going to go this way. So let's do a few examples with cells. I have a solution with a cell inside of it. I'm going to present this to you in several ways, guys. The cell has a molarity of 0.7. The solution has a molarity of 0.9. Which area has more solute? The solution or the cell? What is the greater molarity, Wakefield? What has greater molarity, the solution or the cell? The solution does. Again, I didn't major in math, but last I checked, 0.9 is greater than 0.7. Yes, John?
Would like the matter or like the size of the thing that's holding the
Nope.
solution?
It's all about concentration. Concentration means how much solute is dissolved per liter. That's it. So the concentration, it doesn't matter how much solute or how much solvent, it's just about the concentration of each. So guys, if the solution, as Finley says, has more solute, what does it have less of? Right. So which way is water going to diffuse? Into the cell, out of the cell, or will it be equal? Huh? Into the cell, out of the cell. I'm hearing both now. Finley, can you explain to the class why? You are correct. That's right. So let's write that down. If an area has more solute, it has less water. Osmosis is diffusion of water from high concentration to low concentration. What she said is pretty much spot on. If the solution is 0.9 molar, that means it has less water when you compare it to the cell. So water will diffuse out. When will the diffusion stop? When the concentrations are equal. Now, we need to go over those terms: hypertonic, hypotonic, isotonic. When you are saying those words, you are referencing the solution. I'm going to highlight all this. Everything here in blue is what we are going to define as being hypertonic, hypotonic, or isotonic. I want you to compare the solution, which I have highlighted in blue, to the cell, which I'm highlighting in green. You don't need to do all this coloring. I'm just really making this stand out for all my visual learners. Water is going to diffuse out into the solution. So what has more solutes? Question is, what has more solutes? The solution or the cell? You are correct. The solution has more. So what is the prefix in Latin that means more of? Hyper. So is the solution hypertonic, hypotonic, or isotonic? When you compare it to the cell, the solution is hypertonic. And by the way, SOLN is the abbreviation for solution when you see me do that. So let's see if you guys can figure this out. Hyper means a lot. It means high, it means too much, it means above, it just means much. If your body temperature is too hot, you would be hyperthermic. If your blood sugar was too high, you would have hyperglycemia. If your blood pressure was too high, you would have hypertension. Hypertonic means there's a lot of solute. Well, you have to compare to what? Compare to the cell. So let me ask you this. If the solution is hypertonic, which means it has more solute, what would you say the cell is? The cell is hypotonic. You always have to have a basis of comparison. Yes, the solution is hypertonic. Compared to what? Compared to the cell. Let's do another one. Which one has more solute? It's equal. What's the term for equal? So this is isotonic. This means that there's no net flow. If water diffuses in, water diffuses out, water diffuses in, water diffuses out. It's equal. Okay, one more. Um, 1.0 molar versus 0.2 molar. What has more solute? The cell. So as far as the solution is concerned, when you compare the solution to the cell, listen to the question I'm asking. Does the solution have more solute than the cell, less solute than the cell, or is it equal to the cell? Less. And so what's the Latin affix for less? Hypo. The solution is hypotonic. My first year teaching, I had a kid tell me hypo like a hippo. Which way is water going to flow if the cell has way more solute than the solution does? Not getting it. Water diffuses towards the region with more solute. What number is more, 1.0 or 0.2? 1.0. Which way is water going to diffuse? In. If water diffuses into the cell, what's going to happen to the cell? It's going to get all swollen, hypo like a hippo. The cell is hypertonic. Okay. So we're going to talk about this again when we get into cells, which is unit 2. But I wanted to introduce this to you because it does have a role to play with water potential. Yeah.
So you say it's the diffusion of water from high to low concentration. Is that the concentration of water?
Water. And I know what you're thinking. When it's a solute, it's the opposite of that. Water always, here's what you need to keep in mind. I'm going to write this in big bold letters. Water always diffuses towards the region with a greater concentration of what? Does it always go towards more water or more solute? Right. And I'm going to put some in parentheses here. Guys, if there's more solute, what is there less of?
Water.
You get it? It always goes from high concentration of water to low concentration of water. So if there's more solute, there's less water. If there's less water, water is going to go towards that region. More solute means less water. All right. Any questions? You will see that you'll get a double doses. We're going to talk about this more when we get to unit 2. So now let's go to water potential. Again, I encourage you to watch the video that I spoke about at the beginning of class. It's 9 minutes, 41 seconds. It's really good. It's a nice crash course into how water potential works. Water potential calculates which way water will flow. Or another word you could say is diffuse. This is an equation that you will be given on your AP Biology exam formula sheet. There's only about 5 occasions in this entire class where you actually use math. This is one of them. It's not complicated math. It's just multiplication and division, really. Subtraction and addition. Actually, more so just multiplication, a little bit of addition. The symbol for water potential is the Greek letter psi, as in Poseidon. And what was Poseidon's weapon? A trident, like Aquaman. So it looks like a trident. Now, water potential has its own equation. You are given this on the exam. Water potential equals solute potential plus pressure potential. Typically, you will be given 2 of these variables. You have to find the third. The solute potential is basically how much solute is in the solution. And the pressure potential, which is psi p, is how much pressure is applied to the solution. Like it could be gravity. It could be some sort of other force that is being pushed onto the solution. Okay. Now, a few things. Very easy things. Sometimes it's so easy, you kind of just let it slip through your ears. When it comes to pressure potential, there is no equation. But one thing that you guys need to know is that if you have an open container, the pressure potential equals 0 bars. If it's a closed container, then you will be told the pressure, or you'll have to find it just by doing the other math. But keep in mind, if you ever see the words open container, your psi p is 0. That's easy. And then over here with solute potential, keep this in mind. Fresh water has a solute potential of 1 bar. Fresh water means that there are no solutes that are in the water. It's fresh. It's deionized. Okay, so water is always going to diffuse towards the more negative number. So on the video that I would strongly encourage you all to watch, presents the diagram like this. Here's the ground. Here's a tree. Let's say the water potential in the ground is -2 bars. Let's say the stem is -5 bars. Let's say the leaves are -100 bars. Oops. And let's say the atmosphere is -1000. Which way is water going to flow? Up. What number is more negative, 2 or 5? -2 or -5? -5. So water is going to go from here to here, and then -5 to -100, and then -100 to -1000. Where does a plant obtain all its water? Its roots. You know, I see gardeners spraying the heck out of the leaves of a plant. They cannot absorb water through their leaves. They absorb it through their roots. So you want to spray down at the roots, not at the actual leaves. But All that water has to go up the tree through the xylem all the way up to the leaves because that's where photosynthesis happens. And photosynthesis requires water. So water goes up the tree. It defies gravity almost, but it's actually diffusion that's allowing it to be pulled up. That's all with this water potential. So let's continue with, I want to focus on psi S because psi S has its own equation. And you will be given this equation on the AP exam, but you will not be given the variables. You won't be hand-fed them. You have to match them up. So the equation is negative I CRT. A lot of people forget the negative part. Don't forget the negative. Let's go over each of these variables. I is the ionization constant. This is why I personally prefer that chemistry be a mandated prereq for this class. If you have taken chem, you'll get this, hopefully. If you didn't take chem, it may seem more like a foreign language. If I put sodium chloride in a Cl, if I place it into water, how many ions will it break apart into? The ionization constant for sodium chloride is 2. What if I put aluminum fluoride in the water? What is its ionization constant? How many total ions are there? How many aluminums? How many fluorides? 1 plus 4 or 1 plus 3 is 4. Good. Okay. What if I put aluminum oxide? What is that compound's ionization constant? Anybody? 5. One more. How about magnesium chloride, MgCl2? What is its ionization constant? How many? 3. Now, if you're sitting at your desk, go, wait a minute, I don't get it. Maybe this is where you're having trouble with. How many total ions are there in sodium chloride? 1, 2. How many total ions are there in aluminum fluoride? There are 4. You might be thinking, I only see 2. Well, that's why I asked you how many aluminums are there. You all said 1. How many fluorides are there? You said 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. How many total ions are there in Al2O3? 5. And how about MgCl2? 3. Now, what about this guy? C6H12O6. You might think, oh, 24. When you place sugar, any sugar, I don't care what, glucose, fructose, lactose, galactose, sucrose, maltose, chitin, I don't care. You place any of those in water, the ionization constant is 1. You know why? Because it is not ionic. What is the opposite of an ionic compound? A molecule. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are all nonmetals, and therefore they're considered to be bonded covalently. Anything that's bonded covalently is called a molecule, like water. If you put sugar, or any molecule into water, it stays 1 unit. But if you put an ionic compound in water, it ionizes into however many ions there are, whether it be 2, 4, 5, or 3, okay? C is the molarity. The C stands for concentration, which is another word for molarity, same thing. R is your ionization constant. The answer, this number is the same every single time, 0.0831. Every time it's the same. Yes, Zoe.
So I is ionization constant.
R is the pressure. I apologize. It's the pressure constant. Thanks for catching me on that. It's the pressure constant. Excuse me, guys. Cross out ionization. It's pressure. I have a bad case on the Mondays today. Okay, and then T is temp, but it has to be in Kelvin. Do anybody remember how you calculate Kelvin from Celsius? You do Celsius plus 273. That's right. Okay, so I have a couple word problems for you. And while you're writing this down, I'm going to pass out your homework. Now listen up. You may get a notice from me saying Mr. Thorson has posted an assignment to Canvas. That is for my absent kids. I am giving you physically what they have to do at home. Okay, you do not need to turn it in online. Yeah.
Somebody left the room.
Okay, then you already have one. Then sucks to be them because they just left their homework. All right, here's your word problem. I want you to write down that word problem down while I get your homework out to you. There it is. The molar concentration of a sugar solution in an open beaker has been determined to be 0.2 molar. Calculate the solute potential at 22 degrees Celsius. We have 5 minutes left in class. We should have time to do this problem. Two, 4, 6. All right, I didn't give you a worksheet of frame right now. If you didn't get a worksheet, it should be finished framed by the time class is over. Don't leave here without one. Okay, let's do this together. Everybody get out your calculator. You need to develop the muscle memory for this. Too often people just depend on their neighbor to do it for them. They're not going to do it for you on the test Thursday. They're not going to do it for you on May 11th. Let's identify which variables are which, all right? You are being asked to find the solute potential, which in order to find that, you just have to plug in the right numbers to negative I CRT. It says that you have a sugar solution. So what is I? 1. When you place it in water, it doesn't dissolve. So it stays 1 unit. What is C? 0.2 molar. That is correct. Concentration is the molarity. What is R? That's always the same, 0.0831. I don't see it in the word problem because it's a constant. And then what is T? 295 Kelvin. 22 plus 273 equals 295. Do not forget the negative at the beginning. Multiply all those together. Tell me what you get. Your answer will be in bars. Zoe? You're almost there. Now, here's another reason why I think chem should be a prereq. You have to consider sig figs. How many sig figs are in 0.2? 1. How many sig figs are in 22? 2. So your answer must have as many sig figs as the number of the problem with the fewest. Your answer should be -5 bars. We'll stop there. If you did not receive a